Miami bass is at a pivotal point. In 1989 to 1990, the attention is drawn to us, and we're either going to make or break it. But within, things are changing. Gucci Crew, who had been signed to Hot Productions, Henry Stone and Paul Klein's outfit, had had two great successful albums. But Disco Rick decides to leave, and he goes over to Joy Boy Records and forms the Dogs. And the Dogs are produced in part by Disco Rick and in part by Calvin Mills. And there's a struggle there that makes Calvin Mills question his role at Joy Boy Records. As far as Gucci Crew, they had to put out a third album that was lackluster, to say the least. Helped by Larry Davis, the in-house producer for Hot Productions, who's probably most famous in Miami bass circles for having produced La Trim and having a hit with Cars That Go Boom, which was released on Atlantic Records and groomed as an R&B or a black pop act. But Larry Davis didn't have the Miami bass sound. In fact, Larry Davis was the trumpet player for the band Instant Funk, which is where he comes from. So the idea of his being tuned into the streets and being a Miami bass producer is a little dubious, to say the least. However, Rap City did one better than UMTV Raps could do. They actually came to Miami, specifically looking for Miami bass. They had a full week, and they used a different label every week. I personally remember watching Foresight Records featured on on Rap City. I remember seeing Gigolo Tony playing basketball. I also remember Hot Productions having a day, a meeting between La Trim and Gucci Crew. So we were starting to get notice. But what could we do with it as things are becoming a bit shaky on the inside? Now, DJ Magic Mike, on the other hand, he's from Orlando. That's not exactly South Florida. And DJ Magic Mike knew his art form and was great at it. And when DJ Magic Mike released Bass is the Name of the Game in 1990, everything changed. This was the album that certainly proved Cut It Up Def was not the only game in town. Also proved that you could bridge a car audio market, a turntablist market, a hip-hop market, but keep it all under one roof and tightly packed as a Miami bass album. A solid Miami bass album. And this thing moved units. If it didn't find critical success, because again, we were left out of Word Up magazine and press releases, that's okay. Because word of mouth on this product spread like wildfire. And Magic Mike became top dog of the game, undoubtedly. Now, for Dynamix, they were always focused more on the electro bass side of things. And by they, at this point, I mean, for the most part, Scratch D, David Noller. And with a few helping hands, he released his debut album. And it truly reaffirmed electro bass is here to stay in South Florida. Done predominantly on the SP1200 with some other equipment. And great edits by Omar Santana, showing that the edit art form is still going to be part of Miami bass. Now, Danny D and DJ Wiz, Boys from the Bottom, were the other great act around. They only had one single through Atlantic, but when their album was released through Henry Stone's Hot Productions, it proved, much like Magic Mike, you could have one solid, great Miami bass album with solid cuts, solid SP1200 tricks, solid rapping. Danny D is one of the great masters. Notoriously in studios, engineers call him One Take Danny. He goes in, he raps it once, he gets out, it's perfect. He's never had to question that. Now over at Cut It Up Def, at this point, Jealous J leaves. And Jealous J goes to Heatwave Records. Now Heatwave Records was in California. Dave Williams was the owner. He was a distributor. He had been distributing for Beware Records and a few others. And he started signing groups mostly from West Palm Beach, and Jealous J was one of the first to go. And he got to release his own album, Party Time in Paradise. The album did okay. Work That Body, certainly a great single. His version of DJ Wars 2 is possibly one of the greatest turntablist songs of all time.